Malcolm X in my jeans. I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kusa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Excuse me. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. So let's get ready to get back into it. Hello, Vince. I am from the UK. All right, Claudette is here. Let's get into it. Michelle, Bronze Flat Power God. All right, Queen Amona Hewitt, Christy Love, Ethelene is here. All right, Hadassah. Okay, so with that all being said, hey, Nessie X. All right, Emperor Rex is in the virtual building. Nessa G, Randall Wise, Desmond, Claudette, we the people. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals. Everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. So before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. And you can also find it at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it because we have a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover. So first things first, let's talk about this other shooting. Okay, so ICE is just getting out of control. Okay, I think they've been out of control, but now it's just going to an all-time high. Okay, so 2 people were shot in Portland by ICE, and it's basically the same scenario. They claim the person who was the driver weaponized the vehicle against them, and they feared for their lives. The same old story. So let's go to what they posted, the Department of Homeland Security. So here is what they posted to their social media. Okay, it says at 2:19 Pacific Standard Time, U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon. The passenger of the vehicle and target is a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. Now, the vehicle driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, a Tren de Aragua. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents. Okay, do you all hear this? Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot. The driver drove off with the passenger fleeing the scene. Now, what's interesting is they say the agent fired a defensive shot, but two people were supposedly shot. So clearly more than one shot was fired. Okay, now we're going to get into the reports about that, but what I also wanted to bring back to your attention is, just how cold and callous Trump's words were for the young woman who lost her life, Renee Nicole Good. Let's go back over them, shall we? Let's go back over them because I just want you all to really sit back and think about the lies told in his statement. Okay, just lying, and then posted a video clip of the incident from an angle that would make it look more likely that what he was saying was true, but which we all know that it wasn't. Okay, and even from the video clip, honestly, we could tell that the agent was not run over. But because he was on the other side in this clip, you really couldn't see exactly what happened, and that's what Trump wanted to do. Okay, please pay attention. So somebody said that he crashed the crashed vehicle and walked back to his own vehicle before driving away. He didn't appear injured. I believe they were talking about the agent who shot the young woman. Okay, now this is what Trump had posted. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator. And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovered in the hospital. Just listen to this false narrative that he painted or tried to paint. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They're just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. President Donald J. Trump. This is absolutely amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Just think of the lies within that whole statement. He called this woman a professional agitator. What other protests has she been to, and when has she ever been agitating anything or anyone? Okay, it said that she was acting disorderly and obstructing and resisting and violently and willfully and viciously. Just using all of these trigger words. Okay, Trump is the devil himself. I don't care what anyone says. Just disparaging this poor woman at the end of the day. And then let's not leave out J.D. Vance, because what did he say about her? Didn't he say that she put herself, she had a demise of her own making? Yeah, I believe that's what he called it. Oh, so crazy. But anywho, we'll talk about that more later, because you see, here's the thing for me. And a lot of people are talking about how this is all such hypocrisy, because they want to condemn, they want to condemn the victim in this case and act as though this was her own fault. But it was a whole nother story and a whole nother level of energy when it was Ashley Babbitt, the woman who lost her life at the riot at the Capitol, January the 6th. Okay. They were going in about that. Okay, they were very upset, said she didn't deserve it, even though she was a whole thug and also acting as a domestic terrorist along with the rest of the other clowns that he's since pardoned. Okay, but this woman was innocent, just trying to leave the scene, as she should have been able to do. But they want to act like she's the domestic terrorist. So it's just a hypocrisy that is just so annoying. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this report. U.S. border agent shoots, wounds two people in Portland that Department of Homeland Security says are gang members. That's what they said. Said they're gang members.
Wonder how they knew that, because they say this was a targeted stop. And I told you all yesterday that ICE is not supposed to conduct traffic stops unless they have a reason to suspect that the person in the vehicle is an illegal alien or someone here unlawfully. But here's the thing, even if they're out there just stopping any and everybody that they want, all they have to do is lie and say they thought the person was here unlawfully. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just get too much freedom. They're not held to accountability for anything that they do, it seems. So with that all been said, let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share.
Instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration.
Tonight, we're following the big story of the day. Portland police say 2 people were shot and injured by a federal agent in Southeast Portland. The shooting involving U.S. Border Patrol agents.
Why waste detergent rewashing? That's why I switched to Tide Power Pods. They're pre-measured to meet the cleaning needs of today's big machines. They are packed.
People shot were taken to the hospital. We still do not know much about their conditions. The Department of Homeland Security says the Venezuelan man had ties to Tren de Aragua and was involved in a recent shooting in Portland. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for K2 News at 11. I'm Deborah Knapp. And tonight we have live team coverage. K2's Victor Park is at Southeast 102nd and Main. That's where the shooting happened. Jennifer Singh is at Northeast 146th and Burnside. That's where the 2 people shot were later discovered. And Guillermo Mota is in South Portland near the ICE facility. But first, we want to share new audio from moments after the shooting.
At your discretion, police are en route. It looks like caller saying that he was shot twice by ICE and his wife was shot as well. Your top group is going to be Ops 1, Engine 7 with Medic 314 and Medic 321 with police en route. This will be a shooting at the Brea Apartments, 10 Northeast 146 Avenue. They have a male who was shot twice in the arm and his wife who was shot in the chest.
We're potty training. He's got pull-ups training pants. They work just like undies. And if accidents happen, he's got backup.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go to another report, because that one with all those ads popping up is annoying. And you don't get a warning, it just pops up. Okay, so let's go to this one. They're gonna play the audio also.
Yeah. This is the first real dispatch audio we've gotten from this shooting earlier today, kind of giving you an idea of what the initial response looked like to this shooting by federal agents today. I'm not going to dwell too much on this. I'm just going to let you listen because it's pretty telling of what exactly happened. Just take a listen.
At your discretion, police are en route. It looks like caller saying that he was shot twice by ICE and his wife was shot as well. Your top group is going to be Ops 1, Engine 7 with Medic 314 and Medic 321 with police en route. This will be a shooting at the Brea Apartments, 10 Northeast 146 Avenue. They have a male who was shot twice in the arm and his wife who was shot in the chest.
All right, and that is that audio that we were just speaking about coming from dispatch today. A couple things you probably noted that you're hearing in that dispatch audio. We have not been able to confirm yet because, again, this is coming from dispatch. These are the initial reports, but things that we had not heard before or been able to confirm. You heard the dispatcher there referencing a man and his wife. That is the first time we have heard that the two had some sort of marital relationship. We have not been able to confirm that information yet, but interesting, you heard that in the dispatch audio. Another thing that you may have heard reference to being shot twice in the arm, the man involved in this, and the dispatcher says his wife shot twice in the chest, which kind of gives you an idea of potentially the seriousness of both of their injuries. Obviously, chest injury is going to be a little bit more severe in a lot of cases. But again, we have not been able to confirm that information either. You hear the dispatcher also reference the Brea Apartments and that the shooting, a shooting at the Brea Apartments. We do want to clarify again that there are 2 different locations here. There's Adventist Hospital, which is where we believe the shooting took place. And then we are told, at least according to DHS, that the 2 people in the car that were shot by agents today then fled the scene. That's what DHS says, and ended up near 146th and Burnside, which is near the Brea Apartments. Again, we first heard that the shooting scene was near that location. We've since clarified that the original shooting happened near Adventist Hospital. That's probably why you're hearing the dispatcher there referencing the Brea Apartments, though. Again, there are two different shooting locations. But again, this dispatch audio giving us a few more details that we were not exactly cued in on until now. We're still waiting on law enforcement and other local officials to confirm some of those details that you just heard, notably the injuries and, of course, the relationship between the two people in this vehicle. But for now, reporting in studio, I'm Ward Jealous. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, so with that all being said, let's go to this next report, and then we're going to listen to what a witness had to say who was actually there on the scene. I just don't believe anything that Trump and his minions have to say about any given situation. To me, all they do is lie and paint fictitious narratives. Even if they do tell the truth at some point, how would anyone know the difference? Okay, because they lie just for fun.
Davis, who is live outside Adventist Hospital, where she has been for a good part of the night, as we have watched the investigation unfold there, which is at the initial shooting scene.
Yeah, again, this is where we're told the shooting happened. Now, just minutes ago, officers actually took down the tape that was blocking off this parking lot, the parking lot of this medical office. Just earlier, for hours and hours, starting in the afternoon, of course, going all the way into the evening, investigators were here. They were collecting evidence, putting that evidence into folders and bins and marking those bins and whatnot. There was a mobile command center with the FBI. Of course, PPV was here as well. We know that the FBI did take over the crime scene from them. Now, just a little bit ago, several people showed up. They have candles lit and they are singing This Little Light of Mine. They're saying that it felt wrong to just stay inside and they didn't really know what else to do. And they're out here, they say, in the name of human decency. Take a listen.
This is really wrong. And it feels kind of boilerplate to say that. Like, obviously this is really wrong. And I don't know if this is doing any good, but I just didn't feel comfortable, like, sitting in my warm house tonight and not doing like anything. It seems like
when the FBI was here and those investigators were here, they had a table set up to work on things, to lay that evidence out and start packing it up. They had computers open, again, folders, boxes. At one point, they were kneeling on the ground, taking photos of a car that is seemingly at the center of what happened here. Now, again, DHS, just to reiterate, saying verbatim, when agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver, quote, weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents. Again, just reading this right here. Fearing for his life, they say, and safety, an agent fired defensive shots. Now, again, lots and lots of questions that people still have, that we still have, that we're trying to get answered for you all. People don't know who to believe. They don't know what to believe. But the people I did just talk to here, they say they simply don't believe DHS at all. And again, they're just really trying to figure out and get to the bottom of what happened. So with that, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, yeah, nobody believes them. Okay, they have poor credibility at the end of the day. And here's the thing. Now we're going to go to this witness who spoke about it, who spoke about what happened, saying this is ridiculous. Witness speaks after Portland shooting involving federal agents. With that all being said, I noticed that you all Vince I.M. says, PSA, all trolls, wigs, and other heathens, feel free to depart quietly. No need to make an announcement like you're in an airport. That's what I was just about to say. I see you all saying that there are trolls in the chat. I don't see the trolls. I'm sure there are some. But I don't see them. But here's the thing. Just please ignore the trolls, and moderators, do not block anyone at this point. I'll let you know when to block someone, because sometimes you all mistakenly block the wrong people, or some of my nefarious moderators block people whom I don't want them to block. Like Reppin' Magazine the other day was saying some things that some of you disagreed with, but because you don't agree with the person, it's not a reason for you to block them. That's not what we do. I told you all that people can disagree all they want, as long as they do so respectfully. Now, if someone's being a troll and saying crazy things, that's different. I'll deal with that. But do not block anyone. And I'm talking to the moderators. Do not block anyone because you don't like what they say. Okay, don't do that or you won't have a wrench. All right, because some of y'all moderators want to act like Trump and abuse your authority and power. And that's not what we do here. Okay? Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. We're trying to figure this all out. Dynamic Quad said, do not block me. They better not block you, beloved. Okay, so here we go. Likes up.
So we're at Northeast 146 and East Burnside. This is where Portland police officers found the two people who were shot by federal agents. And just to sort of set the scene for you, this is a very residential area. We're surrounded by large apartment complexes. As you can see, there's the police tape there. There's officers walking around. There's more than half a dozen Portland police cruisers. But I want to pan it back over this way. I have a man, his name is Alex. He lives right next to where a lot of this police activity is unfolding. So Alex, talk to us. What have you seen today?
When I was coming back home and I didn't see the actual shooting, but they had the whole street blocked off. And just in talking to people, it sounds like somebody was trying to get away from them in their car and was shot. That's the most that I've heard.
Can you describe sort of the tone of this neighborhood?
We're all just working class people. There's a lot of immigrants. I think everyone around here knows that. But they keep to themselves. They don't cause any trouble for me. I live right here. They don't touch my stuff. When I have problems, it's from US born people.
How does this make you feel watching this unfold right outside your doorstep?
I am beyond angry that this is happening the day after they killed that woman. I mean, this has gone too far. This is beyond voting. We need to do something. Like, the people need to do something. This is ridiculous.
Have you seen ICE agents come into your neighborhood before?
Not to this complex, but I've been kind of waiting for it because I had a feeling that they were going to be here at some point. I've seen them on Division and I've seen them at the MAX stations, but this is the first time they've been on our street.
What would your message be to these federal agents?
Get out of my city. You're not welcome here.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. We're going to keep following this and talking with neighbors as this unfolds tonight. Back to you.
Just doing all kinds of crazy things, traumatizing people. Okay, traumatizing people, taking people away from their children, all kinds of crazy things. But see, this is what I expected to happen as soon. I'm pretty sure most of us did when Trump started sending the military, into the streets amongst the citizens. And like I said yesterday or last night, because I did a TikTok about this whole situation last night and how Trump, in my opinion, is drunk with power. Because he was in a meeting with 4 reporters from the New York Times, and they basically said to him, what do you think could stop you? Like, how do you just, basically asking him, and I'm paraphrasing, they asked him something along the lines of, do you have unchecked power? Like, what can stop you? And this devil said, only my mind, my own mind and my morality. Now, that's scary as hell to me. Because Trump doesn't have a mind. Okay, just a head filled with nefariousness. Okay, and then morality. Where does he have any morals? Okay, where does he have any morals? Now he's trying to play as though he's a Christian. Okay, suddenly. Okay, we've not heard him talk about being a Christian, going to church, or any of those things the entire time he was in office last time. Now all of a sudden he's a Christian. Please. Now all of a sudden he needs to go over there and have airstrikes sent on Nigeria because they're supposedly persecuting Christians, letting him tell it, as if he cares. Oh, so crazy. This man is nothing but a hypocrite, and so are the rest of the devils in his cabinet. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, everyone, please like and share. But now let's go to what people are saying about all of this, because the Philadelphia DA is not playing. Okay, he came out and did a press conference, and here's what he had to say. Here we go.
Let me be clear. If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you. This is for any one of your colleagues who thinks they are above the law. Let me be clear.
Okay, y'all heard what that man said. Y'all heard what that man said at the end of the day, and that's what he should have said, okay? All of these governors, DAs, mayors, they all should be coming out, okay? They all should be coming out speaking on this to protect their own citizens because this is getting out of hand. And Trump just really wants to declare martial law. He wants to declare martial law, okay? So there'll be no midterms and he can just do whatever he wants. I want y'all to pay attention. He already let us know he's concerned about the midterms. Isn't that what he's saying? Isn't that what he said? Please pay attention.
In Chicago, I would like to take a moment to address the tragic loss of life today in Minneapolis. The video that many of us have seen of ICE officers fatally shooting a woman at point blank range is deeply disturbing and unfortunate.
Is it just me, or does this sound like AI? Doesn't this sound like AI? Is this him for real?
Unfortunately, all too similar to incidents that have transpired here in Chicago. No community deserves to be subjected to the terror that's stemming from this president's use of ICE as his personal militarized force. At the start of their operation in Chicago, an ICE agent killed a father, Saverio Villegas Gonzalez, under very similar conditions in his car right after dropping his children off at school. And just as they tried to do today in Minnesota, the Trump administration lied about what happened and spewed misinformation in an attempt to distort the public's understanding. There was no accountability for that killing, nor was there any accountability when another legal observer in Chicago was shot 5 times. It is incidents like these that demonstrate why we have pushed back against reckless and racist militarized immigration enforcement in Chicago. When we have rogue, masked federal agents killing people on our streets, we are all less safe. In Chicago, we saw these same agents indiscriminately raid apartment buildings, tear gas school children, and violate the fundamental rights of countless Chicagoans. Chicago stands in solidarity with Minneapolis. I am praying for the family of the victim, for Mayor Fry, and for the people of your city. I implore you to come together in this moment. The point of this operation of ICE raids and of this president's rhetoric is to divide us and to dehumanize our neighbors. Do not let them change the part of your soul that sees a fellow human being when you look at your neighbor. We will get through this. And to my fellow Chicagoans, we will continue to stand together and hold the Trump administration accountable and to protect our communities from the abuses of the Trump administration. Thank you.
Okay, that was AI. That was him saying it, but I believe that was AI. There's just the eyes and everything, looking straight ahead and all that. Listen, they need to stop doing that. I know AI is convenient, but I even see YouTubers now, rather than sitting on camera or having the camera just turned off, they have a whole version of themselves sitting there as AI talking. It's just all so crazy because it just to me seems like a person with no soul. It's just like kind of creepy. That's all. Anyway, with that all being said, I need to be quiet because I might have to do it myself one day. Okay, but let's talk about Keith Porter. How many of you heard about Keith Porter? This is a black man who was killed by ICE on New Year's Eve. Once in the chat, because honey, I just heard about this story last night. And it happened New Year's Eve. Did you all hear about this? DJ Big Six said it's dehumanizing. Right. Mel said it's AI is creepy. Yes, I told you all it's demonic. Didi said I hate AI, okay? I like it for some things, but for some things it's just a little too much. Okay, so let's talk about it because like I said, I didn't hear anything about this. I saw a post from Benjamin Crump last night when I was scrolling. No charges. Friends and family of man killed by off-duty ICE officer ask after New Year's Eve shooting. Why no charges? Keith Porter, age 43, had been firing a gun in the air to celebrate before he was killed, according to family members. If the shooter wasn't an ICE agent, we would expect that there would be an arrest. That's what a community leader says. Here's the thing. Here's the problem with this whole thing. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and blame the man for his own demise, but he was doing something that I find to be very stupid and very problematic. Okay, when these people go out on New Year's Eve out here shooting up into the air, I think that is so darn stupid. And I've always thought it was stupid because those bullets go up into the air, and what do you think happens? You think they disappear, disintegrate? Those bullets come back down. So that's very dangerous. When you do stupid stuff like that, you're putting other people's lives in danger. And I don't appreciate it. And I remember one year, some years ago, there was a little boy who's about between the ages of 4 to 6. I can't remember. But he was in church with his family for New Year's Eve. Someone was outside shooting, and the bullet came through the roof of the church and struck him in the head and killed him. Okay, so I don't know how people can be so stupid or just, so careless that they're outside shooting like the bullets are going to land somewhere. That's idiotic to me. I hate it. But anyway, this is what he was doing. And he had a whole AK-47. He had a whole AK-47 doing this. That was so stupid. Now, an ICE officer or ICE agent who likely was overzealous and was just itching to use his gun, shot him and killed him. So let's talk about it. Okay, so after a man was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve in the North Ridge neighborhood of Los Angeles, his friends and family, as well as community groups, are questioning why the agent has not been arrested in connection with the shooting. I'm going to tell you why. Because he had a whole gun. Now, we know how this goes, and because he's a black man. Now, if he were a white man who had a gun and was out there shooting, maybe there would have been some charges, more likely than not. But we know that one thing's for certain and two things for sure, that if a black person is killed by any type of law enforcement personnel on or off duty, if they had a weapon for sure, even if they never aimed the weapon, drew the weapon, pointed the weapon, or any of those things, okay, even if it's just that they said they had a weapon but never even showed it, that officer who kills them, they're going to get off. Y'all remember Philando Castile? Philando Castile had a license to carry, told the officer so, and didn't even pull his weapon. He went to pull out the paperwork. He was shot 4 times and killed. So I'm sorry, at the end of the day, there's no way this was going to turn out good. And the family is upset because there's no charges. There's not going to be any. There's not going to be any. They're going to use the fact that you had a gun in your hand. Okay, and here's the thing. The agent is saying, and I know this is I'm not going to say I know, but I really believe this is a lie, because to make it make sense, the agent says that the man shot at him, turned and fired at him 3 times with an AK-47, but never hit you once. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. So here's what they say. Now, they say the Los Angeles Police Department has released little information about the killing of Keith Porter. They've released little information, okay? That's why I hadn't heard about this, okay? This isn't all over the media, okay? And the ICE agent who shot him has not been identified. Now, Shane Tyler, a cousin of Porter, said in an interview that he had been firing a newly acquired gun into the air to ring in the new year before he was killed. LAPD and Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department have warned against the long-standing practice of shooting into the air in celebration for decades. It can be deadly as the bullets fall to the ground, and it's a felony in California. It should be a felony everywhere. I wish they would make it that. It's ignorant, but it persists in some areas. In a statement, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the officer was in his apartment when he heard Porter shooting. He heard him firing. The officer took his ICE-authorized firearm. He knew the man was shooting for New Year's. Okay, he knew what the man was doing. I didn't even know this part, but let's continue. The officer took his ICE-authorized firearm, left his apartment to investigate, McLaughlin said in a statement. Now, here's the thing. ICE is not a regular police officer. What the hell is he going to investigate for? Why didn't he just call 911? There's a thought. Why didn't he call 911? Because ICE is only supposed to be out here looking for people in the country unlawfully, not trying to arrest people for other crimes, right? That's what they claim. Anyway, so he goes outside. When the officer encountered the armed suspect and identified himself as law enforcement, McLaughlin said Porter pointed and shot the weapon at the agent and refused to drop it. He shot the weapon at the agent and refused to drop it. Now, there's a report that said he fired at him 3 times. Even if it was one, I don't believe it, okay? And you didn't get hurt. 2 neighbors told Capital in Maine that they heard 3 shots followed by a pause lasting about 1 minute. Then another volley of 3 shots followed. Carter Nunez, and this is the thing, Benjamin Crump said he wants to know where the shell casings are to prove this, because they don't believe it either. They could have heard shots, but whose gun did the shots come from is the question. Okay, now it goes on to say, then another volley of 3 shots followed. Now, Carter Nunez, a resident of the apartment complex where the shooting occurred, said he saw Porter's body lying in a courtyard and police officers searching for bullets with metal detectors. He said the ICE presence is very high and the things they're doing around the community are terrible. It's not something you can find comfort in living with. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. All of this stuff is so crazy to me. The agent coming out there and confronting the man rather than calling 911 or whatever. Because first of all, you're off duty. Even if you feel like you can operate in law enforcement capacity, sir, you're off duty. You should have just called 911. That's my opinion. Second of all, the man out there with a whole AR-15 in a residential area is crazy work. Out there shooting into the air. That's all so stupid. To me, both of them are at fault and both of them are idiots. But let me continue. Okay, now with that all being said, goes on to say, hold on, lost my place. Okay, he said, it's not something you find comfort in living with. Now, another resident who would not give their name said they found bullets in a wall. Friends, family, and advocates have expressed concern over the lack of an arrest or charges in the case. They say this was another Black father, son, cousin, villager snatched with it without any regard to his life, said Tyler, Porter's cousin. And once again, this is law enforcement not being held accountable for the loss of life. At the end of the day, yeah, this may all be true. But the bottom line is this man put himself in that predicament because I guarantee you that ICE officer probably had been itching and waiting to do this. That's just my opinion. I could be absolutely wrong. But you know that there are a lot of these overzealous officers who shoot when they don't have to. Okay, now if the man fired at him, then he had to shoot. But I don't know if the man fired at him, and I would like to see proof because I just don't believe anything that any of these ICE agents or Trump's people say. Now, with that all being said, Tyler grew up in Compton alongside Porter, who was nicknamed Pooter. She said her cousin left behind 2 daughters, ages 9 and 20, and then he moved to Northridge about a year ago to be closer to his girlfriend. Tyler last saw him a few days before the shooting at her home during a family gathering. She said Keith was a loving person. Okay, here's a picture of him and his grandmother. Well, may he rest in peace. Condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones, but That was just a bad situation that he put himself in. That's him right there. That's another picture of him. I sure hate it. I sure hate it. But at the end of the day, what Black people need to realize, those who haven't realized it as of yet, what all Black people need to realize is that there are some law enforcement members who are nefarious, and they are just looking for a reason to enact some sort of justice, not justice, but retribution, revenge, or whatever on a person who looks like you just because they don't like people who look like you. Okay, so you have to be careful of the things that you do. Now, hold on, beloveds. Okay, so now let's go to this video of his vigil, okay, and how the community is demanding accountability. Mission Vision said, do the agents wear cameras? Well, here's the thing. They obviously don't have to. I don't know that they do, but they obviously don't have to, because after the lady was shot and killed, Renee Nicole Good, they were saying somebody in Trump's administration, it may even have been Trump, but one of them said something about they're not sure. No, it wasn't Trump. It was one of them that was talking about it on an interview on the lamestream media, but they said something about they don't even know if the agent had on a body cam, so they're waiting for the investigation and all of that. So clearly they don't make them wear them. I guess it's up to them.
Community members in Northridge tonight are remembering a man who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve. Authorities say the agent opened fire when that man pointed a rifle at him. Tonight, activists are demanding answers and justice. Friends say Keith Porter was celebrating New Year's Eve when he was shot and killed.
But it looks like he may have been celebrating with a gun. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pullian spoke with friends and family attending a vigil tonight, and they're now looking for answers.
We're here off Amestoy Avenue, close to where Keith Porter was gunned down by that off-duty ICE agent. This memorial is here for family, friends to mourn. This song, meant to uplift, only lowered the mood as this crowd grieves the death of a 43-year-old father of two. Keith Porter was shot and killed New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent. What would you like to say to the ICE agent if you had the chance?
If I could say anything to the ICE agent, is that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them. You stole a Black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter was observing the holiday that night with gunfire.
You don't get to just murder people because you don't like what they're doing or how they're celebrating.
But the agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun. The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the officer before he was killed.
This is sad. This is sad.
Over 35 years, this is the first time that such a thing ever happened in my community.
As the LAPD investigates what led up to the shooting, the community want witnesses to come forward and the ICE agent identified, arrested, and prosecuted for killing the man they say was kind.
So I thank you. I thank you for my life.
Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organized this vigil. They are demanding accountability from District Attorney Nathan Hochman. In fact, they are having a community meeting with him on Monday in Northridge. Tim Pulliam, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Community members in Northridge tonight are...
Let me tell y'all something. Let me say something. Now, this is a very good question. Randy Wise says, did the agent identify himself as law enforcement? He says he did. He says that he did, okay? But here's the thing. Now, he says that, did you all notice the way the reporter just told the story? He says that the agent says that he fired at the man. Says he told him to put down the weapon. He did, and he fired at him. And he says the man fired at him 3 times before he died or whatever. So who fired first? Who fired first? Because initially it seemed as though they were saying that the man, Keith Porter, fired 3 times. And so that's maybe why the agent fired at him. But the way he just told that story to me, it sounds like the agent fired at him. And if the agent fired at him first, maybe he did fire 3 times. Maybe he did fire 3 times. Because if somebody shoots at you, I would think that your automatic impulse would be to shoot back. That's just what I would think. I would think that if somebody shoots at you, that your impulse, your first instinct would be to shoot back. And here's the thing. Even though he claims that he identified himself as law enforcement, did he? How do we know that he really did? How do we know that he really did? Think about it. This man's outside firing his gun for New Year's Eve. The agent is off duty, which means he's not in uniform. He comes outside in regular clothes with a weapon, points it at you and says, drop the weapon. I'm ICE, law enforcement. First of all, who believes you? Do you have a badge, sir? Can you prove? But you don't have time to do all of that in split seconds when both of y'all got guns. So, sir, how was that man supposed to know that you really were law enforcement? He wasn't supposed to know because just because you said it doesn't prove it. There's people going around, and we've seen it on the news, people being arrested, people specifically who don't look like us, lying and said that they're ICE, going around harassing people who look like us. I reported on it. So how do we know what that man was thinking at the end of the day? How do we know what he was thinking? Okay, the ICE agent should simply have called the police. Should have called 911. You're off duty. This man's outside firing a weapon. Rather than going out there and escalating it or confronting the person, it would have made more sense. That's just all stupid. This is how you know these people are not trained very well. And songwriter Sonny said, next time, don't miss, okay? DJ Big Six said narrative being pushed. Of course it is. We don't think they're telling the truth, do we? Of course not. I just hate that man was out there doing that dumb stuff, out there shooting up into the air New Year's Eve. That's just dumb to me. Use fireworks, something safe. I'm not blaming him for his own death, but he just put himself in a bad predicament because I guarantee you, like I said, that agent's been waiting to do that. Okay, he was thrilled. Okay, he was thrilled, I'm sure. Jay McClendon said, Queen, you sound rational and these beasts aren't. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. I try to. Now let's go to this clip where they're talking about how the protest erupted across Minneapolis, across the U.S. after the fatal Minneapolis shooting. Okay, now this was reported 1 hour ago. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Here we go. Nina said, yeah, that was done. Right. Okay. Dynamic Quality said, right, don't do stuff that puts evil eyes on you. Exactly. Like you just can't be doing, certain things is just never a good idea.
Overnight, tensions rising nationwide. Amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, crowds gathering in cities across the country, including New York, Columbus, Dallas, LA, and Minneapolis, where the fatal shooting of a woman by an ICE agent kicked off a nationwide response. The officer who killed 37-year-old mother of 3, Renee Good, now identified as Jonathan Ross. DHS telling NBC News Ross was seriously injured in a traffic stop here 6 months ago when he tried to arrest an undocumented convicted sex offender who dragged Ross 50 yards with his car. 6 months later, this fateful moment. Police say Good was blocking the road with her SUV. You can see officers approach, Ross stepping in front of it. Good reverses before accelerating.
Okay, let me tell you all something. Here's the thing. They're trying to paint a narrative. Now, I'm not saying they're lying, but they're definitely painting a narrative, because why do we give a damn about what happened to this ICE agent 6 months ago? Why is that even relevant? Well, because they're trying to make it look like, this happened to him before when he approached the car. So that's why he was nervous and he feared for his life, because he's already been injured one time before by somebody who was a rapist or whatever they said the person's charges were. So DJ Big Six said embellishing. Yes. And then they showed somebody injured. How do we know that was even him? And now they want to tell us his name and say he's the one from 6 months ago. How do we even know it's the same ICE agent? Listen, I don't believe anything they say. We've caught these people constantly lying on a regular basis. They're not habitual liars. They're not compulsive liars. They're pathological liars. All of them in Trump's administration. They're pathological liars. Because Trump is a pathological liar, and all they do, the rest of these clowns, is they repeat and mimic his talking points and whatever else that he says. They stick to the same story. So just to me, I believe that they're trying to use this as, so people rationalize what he did and say, this explains why he was so, upset, why he feared so. He was trying to save himself. Get the F out of here. One has nothing to do with the other as far as I'm concerned. And if you're in law enforcement, you should expect that at some point you just may find yourself in a dangerous situation. That's what you signed up for. But let's continue.
Forward while turning. That's when authorities say Ross fired multiple shots. The Trump administration defending his actions, including Vice President J.D. Vance, in a rare appearance in the White House briefing room, saying without evidence that Good was radicalized. Pressed by NBC's Kelly O'Donnell.
Is there a risk with you describing her as a deranged leftist, talking about very specific facts of these events, when an investigation is just beginning?
Well, first of all, the Department of Justice is going to investigate this in this case. You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making.
While local officials, including the city's mayor, dispute the Trump administration's narrative, and some expressing frustration with the investigation.
It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome. And I say that only because people in positions of power have already passed judgment.
So amid all this unrest, new overnight, the New York Times reporting the Trump administration now plans to deploy more than 100 U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents here to the Minneapolis area, with the acting ICE director saying operations here will continue. Laura.
Maggie, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you
Okay, I find it also interesting. At the end of the day, these people are just such liars and just so darn nefarious. And J.D. Vance sitting there talking all that trash about the woman. Yeah, he absolutely was talking about, it was of her own making and all of this. But here's the thing. As I told you all, they're just so, they're such hypocrites. They're such hypocrites because what did they say about Ashley Babbitt, who died at the Capitol? Let's go to that footage. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So we're going to start with Tucker Carlson. And here's why. Because Tucker Carlson came out the other day condemning ISIS actions, and speaking out to defend Renee Nicole Good. Tucker Carlson, please sit down somewhere. You know what's funny? It's funny to me how these people, and by these people, I mean people who have the mindset of a Tucker Carlson, okay, a Candace Owens, and people like them. Look at how Candace, when she got booted from the Daily Wire, she starts trying to, go on the Breakfast Club, try to, use Black people's talking points and whatnot, trying to make excuses for the racist rhetoric that she spewed about her own Black folk. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, when Trump and her fell out and he wouldn't back her run for the Senate, and then they started talking trash about her, and then she now wants to act like she's on the good side, trying to call out them for not releasing all the Epstein evidence and act like she's all for the victims. Now we have Tucker Carlson, who's always been one who spoke as a wanton supremacist with racist talking points. And now here he is talking about defending Renee Nicole Good, who was killed in the Minnesota shooting. But here, this is when Ashley Babbitt passed away at the Capitol. She was a whole thug, just like the rest of them who were there. Okay, rioting and acting foolish, climbing through windows and acting like monkeys and all that they were doing. Putting feces on the wall, stealing Nancy Pelosi's laptop, making threats and all of that. Had explosives, some of them, in their vehicles and whatnot, weapons, thugs, domestic terrorists, radicalized people from the right. But they defended Ashley Babbitt and blamed the police officers at the Capitol who were simply doing their job. But now they're defending ICE when we saw that the woman who was victimized was absolutely not in the wrong. Okay, so I just want you all to pay attention to that. Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, all of these type of people, when they see that the same people they've been caping for, bending the knee for, spewing racist rhetoric for, and following suit for their nefarious agendas, when those people turn on them, then all of a sudden they want to act as though there's some good person coming out here to defend the downtrodden or the person or the victims of some heinous act. Tucker Carlson, okay, he's full of BS. He is full of BS. Okay, now you want to say something nice about somebody. Now you want to try to defend somebody. Please miss me with it. I just can't stand any of these devils. But let's continue. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to use an overlay just in case.
He shot an unarmed woman who was under 5'5", who did not pose a mortal threat to him. And if she did, tell me how. And he killed her. And so just on the basis of those facts alone, I need to know more.
She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that thug that killed her, there was no reason to shoot her at blank range.
Now that's Trump calling the police officer a thug. The police officer who shot Ashley Babbitt, he's calling her a thug. Okay, please pay attention.
Cold blank.
Or calling the police officer a thug, I mean.
Range, they shot her.
Do you approve of lethal force against unarmed citizens, particularly a 110-pound woman with no warning?
Do cops get to shoot people without a warning? I don't think they do, actually.
Cops, that officer, bad things should happen to him. He shot her, and she was totally defenseless.
She posed no mortal threat to anybody, not even conceivably.
They shot.
As you listen to these excuses that they're making, I want you all to think about how they never have said these words when it was a Black person who was shot unjustly by law enforcement. Look at how the mayors are coming out, the DAs, the governors. And that's all good because that woman absolutely didn't deserve to die. May she rest in peace. But just think about, you don't hear all of this when a Black person is killed unjustly by the police while unarmed at a traffic stop. What you hear then is, oh, they should have obeyed lawful orders. They shouldn't be committing crimes. When actually, what crime was it? They were at a traffic stop. Okay? They don't make allowances or give allowances or benefits of the doubt to people who look like me. But that's what they always do for their own, unless it's one of their own who has a different agenda than them. Okay, please pay attention.
A young lady in the face who was protesting, they shot her in the face.
And her death is like totally fine because we don't like her politics?
The only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever.
There's a woman in this room whose daughter was murdered. No one has cared about the person that shot and killed her. And no one in this Congress has really addressed that issue.
Who was the person that shot an innocent, wonderful, incredible woman right in the head?
A wonderful woman fatally shot.
He didn't shoot a mob. He shot an unarmed woman who was under 5'5", who did not pose a mortal threat to him. And
now he said, if she did, tell me how. Does he ever say that when he would report on Fox News about some Black person? Okay. Would he ever say such thing? No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Okay. And miss me with it. But you know, like I said, these people are such hypocrites. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, now let's go to the next clip. And then also Representative Johnson actually called this whole thing a homicide. That's what he called it. Dynamic Quality said, when George Floyd was deleted, cities looted and burned. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They sure did. And we even had people saying that, making memes of George Floyd, clowning him and all of that. Honey, they don't care when black people get killed. Okay, the majority of America, they don't care. They condone it. Just like a lot of them condone the BS that Trump's doing right now. Okay, that's what they do. And thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Are just immediately swallowing all of what the Trump administration has to say about the incident in Minneapolis, which is odd coming from the pro-Ashley Babbitt crowd, but let's move on. Do what I say and you won't get hurt is the logic of rapists and abusers. It also generally ends up being a lie. So why we accept and promote that line of thinking with regard to law enforcement is beyond me. Law enforcement cannot punish people. They are not permitted to punish people. This is aside from the fact that shots were fired once the agent was out of harm's way, actually followed the driver's side window to try to get shots into the window. So you can take that gaslighting abuser rhetoric right on out of here. And 8647. For those of us who are just immediately swallowing.
And he said, hey, take that out of here, and immediately 8647. Okay, I hope that does happen. All right, he needs to be 86. Now let's go to Senator Moskowitz. What he said during the meeting when he torched, flamed, or however you want to put it, Kristi Noem with her lying self, just sitting up her lying on the victim.
This is the person. This is the person who, within minutes of the shooting, went on TV and called it domestic terrorism. What is she, hiding her face like her ICE agents now? She can't show her face either? By the way, is this what the $800 billion went to? Every day we see her after there's some new tragedy in Homeland, she's wearing a different outfit with a different hat. I mean, come on, guys, she looks ridiculous. She's not just an embarrassment to the country. She's an embarrassment to you and the president. Okay, she deserves to be removed from her job by the president, and if not impeached, not just for her complete failures in Homeland, but her destruction of FEMA. She's not even running the department. You guys know this. You guys know she's not running Homeland. Your governors and you all, when you need your FEMA money, you don't call Noem, you call Corey. You know she's not running the place. She's a complete and utter embarrassment. By the way, every Homeland Secretary has come in front of this committee once, a Congress. I'd like to know the date she's coming. When is she coming?
When is she coming?
When is she coming? By the way, do you know Pam Bondi has not come in front of this committee? Do you know she's the only secretary to not appear in front of a committee yet? When is she coming? What's the date on the calendar that she's coming? You know what? Let's make it easy. I want to make a motion to subpoena Pam Bondi.
Second.
To this committee.
Third, fourth, fifth.
How much are we going to?
The gentleman is not recognized for that motion. However, the chair will advise as to the Attorney General coming for, as they do routinely.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. But where is the Attorney General, the only secretary to not appear, okay, in front of a committee, the only one? We're into year 2 of this Congress, and we've not had the Attorney General in front of this committee. How much are we going to weaken Article 1 of the Constitution while you guys remain in power? I watch you twist yourself into pretzels trying to defend this, running away from previous statements, disagreeing with yourself, trying to defend the crap that's happening. This is the person. This is the person who.
Now let's go to Representative Johnson, because he said this is a whole homicide. Okay, when he was asked what he thought about it.
Can I get any reaction to the shooting death in Minnesota by the ICE agent of the lady in the car?
Like a homicide for which there should be criminal charges.
Thank you,
Shooting into a moving vehicle 4 times, traffic stop, murder.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, Mr. Johnson, can I get any reaction?
Okay, he said murder. Exactly what it was, nothing other than. And look at this. There's a teacher, a black female teacher that's gone viral because she went in on ICE when they came to try to snatch up one of her students. They're all up in the school trying to snatch up students. This is absolutely insane. They should even not be allowed on school grounds.
You are not coming in here. Ma'am, we just need I said no. This is a school. You're not about to harass my students. Get the fuck out of here before I stick my foot in your ass. I'm not playing with you. No. You are not coming in here. Ma'am, we just need I said no. This is a school. You're not about to
It's so crazy. At the end of the day, I hope that wasn't AI. But nonetheless, some of these videos be looking like AI, honey. Okay, I have questions. Now, with that all been said, Trump is doing all of this foolishness just to try to escape the thing that he hates and loathes the most. And that is talk about Epstein. Well, guess what? That talk is back. It's not going anywhere, and Trump needs to get over it. But before we get into it, let's talk for a second about Lindsey Graham, because Lindsey Graham is another person that needs to go. He really does. He absolutely needs to go with his nefarious self. Okay, remember how he was sitting there just caping for Trump and skinning and grinning and gloating after Trump got them to capture Maduro? He was sitting there bragging and all of that. And he was talking back in August, Lindsey was. Not August, it was in October. If you remember, Lindsey was basically saying back then in October how they wanted to get Maduro. And so he was just so excited he couldn't stand it. His little ugly self.
You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Cuba is ready to fall.
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. But Cuba now.
Yeah, Trump said Cuba has no income because they were getting all of their income from Venezuela. And he's like, he put a stop to that. So now they're going broke. So they're going down. Just keep talking tough, Trump, and see what happens to America. I don't think it's going to be good. Okay.
Change if you're keeping the vice president in power, a Maduro ally.
What you don't understand is we don't want to go in on the ground. If we can use the existing infrastructure in a new way where they work with us, not against us, and they have an election where they're not involved, then it all works. There's no reason to drive everybody out that's a bad guy if you can get them to help you create a new Venezuela. It would be in her interest, because I think she's indicted too, to work with us. And you know what? They actually are. So I like that model of working with what's left of the regime to get a goal we all agree on, which is a free and fair election.
To hear him sit there and lie and talk about a free and fair election, please miss me with it. Okay, please miss me with it. And another thing is, they said that ICE was briefed on the protesters. So they're supposed to, know how to deal with them and all of that. They were told to not really, do anything unless they were attacked or whatever. Basically, at least that's what was in one of the reports. But clearly, they've been given the okay to do whatever the hell they want, okay, without having any consequences. Okay, do they too have qualified immunity like the police? It seems so. Now, before we get into this Epstein thing, I want to tell you all that there was an elderly woman. This elderly woman was at the Capitol. She was at the Capitol during the rioting, and she came forward and said that she refused the pardon because she wanted to take accountability for her actions, for her involvement, because she realized that she was wrong for what she did on January the 6th. And I'm thinking, lady, you had your old behind out there at the Capitol, And you weren't worried or concerned? And she said she got trampled. I'm sure she did. Because why were you even there in the first place?
Pam Hemphill. I'm a mother and a grandmother and a cancer survivor and a retired addiction counselor. I am also a convicted criminal for what I did on January the 6th, 2021. Thank you for having me back to the Capitol today. I am deeply grateful for this chance to try to make amends and talk about what happened 5 years ago. Once I got away from the mega cult and started educating myself about January the 6th, I knew what I did was wrong. I pleaded guilty to my crimes because I did the crime. I received due process, and the DOJ was not weaponized against me. When Donald Trump pardoned us, I rejected the pardon. Accepting that pardon would be lying about what happened on January the 6th. I am guilty, and I own that guilt.
Now I want you all to pay attention. When she says that she was offered a pardon and she rejected the pardon, mind you, she was only sentenced to 2 months. Okay, she was only sentenced to 2 months, but I guess that's a lot for someone at her age. But you know, it wasn't like she was getting years. That's all I'm saying.
5 years ago, I traveled from Idaho to DC to see Donald Trump speak. I had fallen for the president's lies, just like many of his supporters. Local people had welcomed me into the circle when I was around them. I heard them saying things like, the Democrats are trying to turn this into a communist country, or the radical left wants to do away with our Constitution. The gaslighting caused a lot of fear, and I was scared. With that fear in my heart, I came here on January the 6th. I went from Trump's speech to the Capitol because I thought Mr. Trump would go to the Capitol with us.
Trump played all of them, okay? Trump told them, go down there and fight, and I'm going to be right there with you. Trump got in his darn car, okay? He got in his motorcade, and they turned and went the opposite direction. It's all on film. It's all on film. Trump got in the car, and the motorcade turned and went the opposite direction. He does not go down there with them. He played them like a tune. Now, Dynamic Quality said, but Queen, a pardon means that the record is clean. Honey, I know that. Look how old that lady is. Do you think she gives a darn about her record at this point? She's lived the most of her life. She doesn't care. She's not like she has to go and find a job. And not to mention, it was a misdemeanor is what they charged her with. So no felony or nothing. So I'm quite sure this lady did not care, honey. And see, that's the thing. That's why people don't need to mess with elders sometimes. Because sometimes when people get to be her age, they feel like they don't have anything to lose, honey. They will bust a cap in you. Okay, some of these people that try to, take advantage of elders and all this, that, and the third. I'm just saying. That lady is not worried about it at this point, honey. At this stage in the game, who's worried about a credit history or a criminal report?
I heard people saying that Trump was going to walk down to the Capitol, so I went. Well, as you know, Donald Trump never showed, but the rioters did, and the attack began. The police officers were the heroes. They protected the Capitol and everyone inside the Capitol, and even people like me. I was trampled on by the rioters. And if it weren't for the Capitol Police helping me that day, I might have died. To the Capitol Police officers sitting, if I may address you for a minute.
She needs to sit down.
I am truly sorry from the bottom of my heart for being part of the mob that put you in so.
Hold on. Did she say? I'm sorry. Did she say I apologize to you for being part of the mob? Let me tell y'all something. This lady is not fooling me for one bit. Okay, listen, I'm not falling for her story. Okay, it's all good for her to get up here and save face, because to me, that's what she's trying to do. She's getting up here and talking about, oh, it was a cult and this and that and whatever. Now she sees how Trump is out of control, acting like a whole damn fool and all of this BS. Okay, and she probably likely saw it earlier because, like she said, she went ahead and refused to pardon. But here's the thing. You may have refused to pardon because you felt like what you did was wrong and you saw the error of your ways and knew that it was all lies and BS that Trump told y'all. But the bottom line is she's still racist as hell. Because every last one of those people who listened to Trump and went up there and rioted at that Capitol, who fell for Trump's BS, all of those people willing to just overthrow their own government and act like fools, we already know. Anybody calling themselves MAGA, you're just racist. Period. That's how I see you. If you're down with Trump, you're racist. And if you look like me and you're down with Trump, then you already know what you are, a whole raccoon. Okay, a whole raccoon. So I'm not falling for the BS. She can get up here and say she takes accountability. That's all fine. But just know, beloveds, she's taking accountability to her people, not to you. This lady don't like black folk. I'm here to tell you. Anybody that went up there and rioted at that Capitol calling themselves MAGA, what you think they care about Black Lives Matter? I guarantee you nothing. Okay, so I care nothing for them. Let's continue.
So many officers in danger. I want the Capitol Police to know how truly grateful I am to them.
And I'm sorry, but for me, she doesn't even sound authentic. To me, this sounds like crocodile tears. I don't even see any tears. It looks like she's trying to conjure up some or maybe act like she's crying, you know, like Erica Kirk. But at the end of the day, honey, she doesn't even sound sincere to me. Sounds like an old lady who's just trying to get sympathy and empathy by pretending that she's so sorry for what she did. Is she on her deathbed or something? Did they tell her she only has a few weeks or months to live? I have several questions because trust me, whatever her motivation for doing this, in my opinion, and y'all can think I'm being harsh, but I just don't believe it. I don't think it's out of her being sincere and authentic. I think it's for something else. That's just what I think. And I think these are crocodile tears because no matter what she says today, lady, the fact of the matter is 5 years ago, you went to that Capitol with hatred in your heart, with anger fueling you, enraged, and you went there and caused destruction. Okay, that's what you did. That's what they all did. And those people who went there, I guarantee you, do not like people who look like me. Okay?
And how deeply sorry I am. I can't believe people are still disrespecting you and trying to lie about January the 6th. I will do everything I can to stop the lies about our brave officers like you.
Do y'all hear this? Oh my, she's first of all rubbing it on too thick for me. She's rubbing it on a little too thick. I will do everything I can for my brave officers like you. I'm sorry, not falling for it. Measure Man said, girl, send an email next time. Okay? All right, I agree. Please miss me with it, Karen. All right, and Measure Man, thank you for insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Who protected us during the attack. Thank you. Speaking about January the 6th has caused a great risk to my personal safety. I have been doxxed online, harassed, and physically assaulted. But I am here, and I don't care. I won't let it stop me. I can't sit here while Mr. Trump and others are lying. I also want others who feel like me to know that we must stop the lies being pushed by the Republican leaders and Trump himself. Thank you again for having me here. I am glad for the opportunity to speak to you and answer any of your questions.
Hey, just a minute before you move on. I want to say thank you for watching and for supporting us. It's you, all of our viewers.
Okay, so I was sending something to my email that I'm going to play in just a second to show you all what that lady reminded me of. Metro Man says she the type that asks to speak to the manager at the pearly gates or wherever she's going. Good luck with that. DNA don't change at that age. Okay, exactly. I don't believe her. I'm not buying what she's selling is all I'm saying. Okay, not buying it at all. All right, and thank you for insight to the topic and contribution to the channel. Okay, peace, love, and blessings. Now, here's what she reminds me of. That whole little song and dance that she just gave. Here we go. This is what I think about when I see people like her crying after, and here's the thing. She likely is, she could be sincere. Because she likely has realized that Trump has played them all and lied to them, and she may have lost her disability, or maybe in fear of losing her medical benefits, or anything. Who knows? But at the end of the day, having a hard time making a day-to-day living, paying bills and all that, like so many people. And she may honestly feel like Trump has played them and lied to them, which he has, and now see the error of her ways. But the bottom line is, honey, you're still a whole racist. I'm sorry, MAGA's racist. I don't trust any MAGA, and that's just what it is. Now, watch this. This is what she reminded me of, because I don't fall for the crocodile tears at all.
Hi, this trend needs to stop. If you did it and you didn't realize.
Okay, I'm so annoyed. This one right here, this video I sent, doesn't show her, but I know you all have seen this before. Okay, I know you all have seen this before, where the white women were on there and they just instantly make themselves cry. And then they start laughing. Okay, now I don't know why the lady who posted this video put something over her face. Darn it. Hold on, let me go to this one right here. Because this is what I wanted to show y'all, her face. It's like crying on cue. Okay, crying on cue. Now, when do they learn this? Are they taught this from day one? Look at that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, that's what I think about anytime I see that. Okay, the Erica Kirks. Okay, the Karen that we just saw talking about she's so sorry and this and that. That's just what I think. Now let's go back to what she was saying.
Whatever. But it's not about you being able to cry on command because you're such a good actress. It's about you being able to cry on command and white women's tears being used as weapons against Black and Indigenous people of color for literal centuries. White women's tears are what got Emmett Till murdered.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. So yeah, that's why I don't fall for white women's tears. When I see them, if they seem genuine, that's one thing. But that lady's just didn't seem genuine to me. At the end of the day, that lady to me said that she's sorry for what she did. It's no different than if it had been somebody like Carolyn Bryant. Carolyn Bryant was low down, dirty, racist, and all of that. And had she done something like that lady did, she too may have gotten up there and said she saw the error of her ways and she apologized. But that would have been for her people, not for the benefit of us. Okay, because of anything she did wrong to us, no. Or the way that she thought or the mindset that she has about us, no. Not falling for it. Randa says, interesting how a beatdown can reverse racism, LOL. Okay. At the end of the day, but here's the thing though. I wouldn't even beat them down with with physical violence. I would beat them down with words. Okay, you just tell people that are racist and hateful, just give them something to grow on. Tell them something honest and true that you know they don't want to hear, and much less don't want you to say it. And I'm sure you can think of a myriad of things. See, that's how you fix people like that. Now, with that all being said, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, we're almost done, but let's talk about this Epstein debacle, because quite frankly, it's not going anywhere from the sounds of it. Okay, it is not going anywhere from the sounds of it. Now, they have a new report where they want to get some watchdog group to basically be over the disbursement of the Epstein files. Okay, Congressman Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. They led the successful effort to pass a bill that would force the Justice Department to release the materials. The bipartisan duo that spearheaded efforts to force the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein files is now asking a federal judge to appoint an official to oversee the process. Because y'all, let me tell y'all what's been going on here. So they say there are so many files that have not even been released. It seems like they just, went through the files and just doing all kind of dumb stuff. Like now they're saying that, they were supposed to only redact information pertaining to the victims to keep them safe. But they redacted so much. I mean, like it was so ridiculous. We all saw it when I showed it to you. But now they're saying that they actually redacted things like the fax number. Okay, to some paperwork that was sent or whatever, just redacting stupid things that didn't need to be redacted, which leads me to think that maybe they're just not even going through this stuff properly. Okay, hold on. I wrote it down somewhere. I can't remember where I wrote it. Hold on, did I write it down right here? Hold on, beloveds. Oh, and they even redacted prosecutors' names. Like, why would you do that? Okay, they redacted the prosecutors' names, numbers to fax machines. They're just dumb stuff, like I said. Okay. Anyway, very interesting. So yeah, so they are now asking this judge to have somebody oversee the process. Now, this new request from Representatives Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna comes as the DOJ is under criticism from members of both parties for not complying with the law that Congress passed late last year, which mandated the department to make materials related to the late convicted ex-offender public by December the 19th. Now, the department instead has been rolling out documents in tranches with redactions. Okay, Massie and Khanna and others say that these go beyond what they outlined in their legislation. Put simply, the DOJ cannot be trusted with making mandatory disclosures under the acts, according to Massie and Khanna. Okay, so they wrote to Judge Paul E. Engelmayer of the Southern District of New York, who is overseeing the case against Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, saying absent an independent process as outlined, we do not believe the DOJ will produce the records that are required by the act and what it has represented to this court. In other words, they think the DOJ is lying, and they likely are. The two lawmakers are asking Engelmayer to appoint a so-called special master or independent monitor to preside over the continued release, a court-appointed administrator who would ensure the administration follows the law. So a judge has wide discretion to appoint a special master, and judges sometimes take such steps in cases like these where there are a large number of documents and questions of privilege. A special master is often a retired federal judge. Now, the judge who oversaw the case against Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, appointed a special master to review the documents seized from Cohen's properties to assess which were subject, or basically to assess and which were subject to attorney-client privilege, for example. Now, it's not clear if Engelmayer might be inclined to appoint a special master. Massie and Ro Khanna criticized the limited rollout of materials and the extensive redactions. They also note their bill required Attorney General Pam Bondi to provide details on redactions, which was not submitted to Congress by the statutory deadline. Yeah, she doesn't want to do that, because then she'd have to explain why certain things were redacted. Okay, like the clients on the list, I'm sure the people who are engaging in the nefariousness. Now, they say the The court can rule fairly quickly, Massey told reporters on Thursday. Pam Bondi is in communication with this judge about the documentation production. We're stepping in and offering our opinion on what would be helpful. Now, we believe they're over-redacting material, and they're also releasing it in a manner as to just flood the channel with stuff that doesn't matter while they withhold the things that do matter. So Massey and Connor have also threatened to hold Bondi in contempt, in inherent contempt, a long dormant congressional power over her department's handling of the case. Massey said Thursday that their effort to pursue that mechanism was still ongoing, but he is currently focused on the effort to appoint a special master, saying, I think it's the quickest way to to expedite the document production. Because these lawyers at the DOJ understand what judges do in courtrooms, and they are already communicating with that judge, even though they're not communicating with us. Trying to be slick, trying to pull off some little con game, likely. That's what it sounds like to me if I had to take a guess. All right, and then Mark Epstein says that there's a new autopsy coming out next month. New autopsy report will prove that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. That's what his brother said. Mark Epstein says Jeffrey was murdered, and more autopsy facts will be coming out in February that prove that. This is what he said, citing a mysterious report that he claims will be released within weeks. Now, he identified his brother's body. And later hired Dr. Baden, a well-known forensic pathologist and former New York City chief medical examiner, to observe the autopsy and the claims that the injuries he witnessed on his body didn't correspond to the way his body was found hanging. Now, he also said the fire alarm, which also controls doors and videos, wasn't operable the day that Jeffrey Epstein died. And there were 73 people on the floor before Jeff's death and only 72 after. So who is the missing prisoner, he says. Mark added that because the only surviving videotape only showed a sliver of a door, not Epstein's actual cell, he says you have no idea who could have gone in or out of there. And why ignore the fact that there was somebody else on that floor? So Mark also says Ghislaine Maxwell, currently serving 20 years in a federal prison after being convicted in December of 2021. He basically says that she's lying when she said Jeffrey likely took his own life. He said Ghislaine is someone in a position, well, I wouldn't trust anything she says. That's what Mark says. What is she basing this on? She never saw the body or even talked to Jeff before he died. There are only 3 ways to die in prison, Mark says. Taking your own life, natural causes, or murder. And Jeff was murdered. I want to know who killed him and on whose behalf. I bet Trump doesn't want to find that out because I think he already knows. I think he already knows. Now, after Epstein was found dead, former Attorney General Bill Barr issued a statement saying he was appalled by the news of Epstein's apparent self-deletion in custody and that the circumstances raised serious questions that must be answered. Now, in later commentary and testimony, including before Congress, Barr reiterated that investigations had found no evidence to contradict the official determination that Epstein's death was in fact self-deletion, while acknowledging mistakes and procedural failures in the jail. So anyway, his brother thinks it was all a cover-up. And that autopsy report, like he said, is supposed to be coming out in weeks. So I can't wait to see this. What is this going to prove? It's going to be something different? I have several questions. Now let's go to this report from they say Trump's Epstein crisis has deepened as the DOJ breaks the law, posting just 1% of the files. Out here running the whole con game like I told you all. And all this stuff that Trump's doing is nothing but a smokescreen to take our minds off of Epstein. And that's why I'm so glad that more information keeps coming out and that people just keep talking about it. Because Trump, you're not getting out of this. No matter how many wars you start, how many oil tankers you have seized, no matter how much greed that you engage in and how much resources you steal. How many airstrikes and what all. We're still going to be on this case. And I do hope that what Steve Bannon said comes true. Remember when Steve Bannon said If they lose the midterms, everybody in that room, including himself, is going to jail. Yeah, I hope that's true. Christy Noam, jail. You know, Pam Bondi, jail. Lindsey Halligan, all of them. Pete Hegseth, every last one of them need to be in jail, specifically Trump. But you know, Trump has immunity. But he definitely should be impeached. Now let's continue.
With a lot of controversy for Donald Trump's presidency. He is facing accusations of breaking the law abroad and at home, and a big legal inquiry that has taken up most of our broadcast tonight with that terrible shooting in Minneapolis. Now, I want to turn to lawmakers dialing up pressure on DOJ under Trump for breaking a different law, which is another big story that he might prefer to go away. The DOJ is breaking the Epstein law that Trump signed, the Epstein Transparency Act. They have released a tiny portion of files when they faced the original deadline, which landed in December, exactly 1 month after the humiliating loss that Trump faced when his own party rebuffed him.
Hold on, Randa, did I thank you for your contribution? I don't think I did. It says, interesting how a beatdown can reverse. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. A beatdown can reverse racism.
And required him to stop hiding documents and covering up for Epstein for whatever reasons Trump and his policies had done. And now we see lawmakers in both parties saying that it is clear that Trump DOJ is breaking the law, and they're threatening criminal sanctions over that.
Typically, like with contempt, you might refer that to the DOJ, and then the DOJ never prosecutes itself. And then the problem goes away at the end of the Congress because it's contempt because they're not in compliance with the congressional subpoena, which expires at the end of Congress. This law does not expire at the end of Congress. And so they've got a real problem. The contempt that the Congress refers, they could be in jeopardy of that even after this Congress expires.
Massey is speaking in sort of the legal process there, but the bottom line about the real problem he's mentioning is a reference to that soon enough, and mind you, he's a Republican, he's saying they could be out of office and an ensuing administration could actually hold them in contempt and people could get in trouble. Chuck Schumer says Congress wants that list of government officials that's required and asks what they're hiding. There's also the admission from the DOJ that there's 2 million Epstein documents still under review, with 12,000 documents that reach up to over 100,000 pages released. That would actually mean they've only done 1% of the files that they say exist. Lawmakers turning to external pressure. A bipartisan group wants an audit of this process. Democratic senators also trying to put the heat specifically on Trump's chief of staff, seeking more information because she claimed in a recent interview that she's looked over these files that Trump has named but isn't doing anything awful. Trump's DOJ has said this review could take weeks more. This is after they've had 6 weeks, give or take, and claimed they'd done a review and claimed they had 200 lawyers working on this. Any normal law firm dealing with this type of investigation and request would have completed it by now. So what are they hiding?
If this were a private law firm with 5% of the resources of the DOJ, this would have been done by the deadline. The biggest problem isn't that they're missing the deadlines, it's what they're redacting. So they're citing the Privacy Act, and they're trying to pretend like that overrides a law that we just passed that says you can't withhold records to prevent embarrassment.
That's a Republican talking about the Epstein cover-up dragging into the new year. We're joined by former prosecutor Christy Greenberg, an MSN legal analyst. Your view on the DOJ's compliance here, breaking this law?
Well, I think the biggest issue I see is there's been really poor communication coming from the Department of Justice. We saw a letter on the day that the deadline on December 19th from Todd Blanche to Congress explaining, hey, this is what the process is. We have these NSD lawyers, National Security Division lawyers, who are reviewing this, and this is what we're doing. And he said, we're reviewing privileged information and we're redacting that, which I don't believe the act calls for any kind of privileged information to be withheld. He's saying we are redacting only what is legally required, but it's not required that they decide that certain information is privileged. That's a choice that the department is making to say that information is privileged and they're going to redact
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, even before you get to that Massey's a Republican lawmaker from Kentucky. His view, along with a lot of experts, is they're not releasing enough documents, that when 99% are hidden, something's up.
Well, they're certainly not releasing enough documents. This week, there was a letter that came from the Southern District of New York to the judge in the Maxwell case. And in that letter, they said more than 125 lawyers from my old office, the Southern District of New York, are spending all or a substantial part of their day reviewing Epstein files. In that case, I don't know why we only have 120.
They're lying. They're just lying. They're trying to hide stuff. Okay, that's what they're doing at the end of the day. Now let's go to this other report. Epstein file release delay triggers calls for internal watchdog review. Okay, this is from CBS. And then we got to talk about Maduro's wife and Maduro and his wife's injuries. Okay, and the lies that I think they're telling.
Delay in the full release of the Epstein files has triggered calls for an internal watchdog review into the DOJ. Federal law required the DOJ to release its records on Epstein by December 19th, but government lawyers told the judge this week that only 1% of those files have been reviewed and released. Now, several Epstein survivors, lawmakers, and watchdog groups are asking for a review into the DOJ to see if it violated the law. Let's bring in CBS News Department of Justice reporter Jake Rosen. So Jake, good to see you. Explain the legal question here and what this watchdog group would look into.
Good morning, Vlad. The legal question here is whether the Department of Justice violated a law that required it to release all of these Epstein documents by December 19th. Now, what we know, Vlad, is that Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the Justice Department got millions of files around the holidays that they had not yet reviewed and that those files are actively underway. However, at the same time, Vlad, we know that these watchdog groups are asking the Inspector General's office at the DOJ, which is an outside independent monitor of the Justice Department, to potentially go through and figure out whether the Department of Justice is deliberately slow walking this release and whether there are any other details they can come up with that would show that the DOJ is deliberately not listening to this law that we know bipartisan support forced President Trump to sign. He signed it, and that the DOJ said they would fully comply with. That has not happened so far, and we have not seen a new release of documents in the last couple of weeks.
So the DOJ also moved to unseal these grand jury transcripts of 2 correctional officers charged with falsifying Epstein records. Explain that to me.
Well, that's right, Vlad. These 2 officers worked at the correctional facility where Jeffrey Epstein was found dead. We know that they were charged federally for improperly filling out forms, lying on these forms. They were never actually prosecuted. They reached a deferred prosecution agreement, but we know in the indictments of them, a federal law enforcement official testified. There are about 45 pages of testimony, and the DOJ has to move through to go through some of these mechanisms to unseal these documents, Vlad. But again, going back to our earlier conversation point, this all should have been done before that December 19th deadline. It has not been done. We'll see what the judge does in terms of unsealing or not, and what new information we may learn about what these agents knew and what they potentially covered up in filling out forms regarding checks of Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell around the time of his death.
Really important information.
Okay, so stay tuned because I can't wait to find out what else is going on, especially with this autopsy report that's coming out in February, supposedly. With that all being said, listen, we're going to have to talk about this other stuff later. I'm going to come back maybe around 7 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock. So stay tuned, okay? Because I want to talk about the injuries to Maduro and his wife and what Trump's administration said about that, how they explained it, but also Trump and Putin. Okay, there's a whole nother story going on with that. So I'll get to that later. But before we go, I want to show you all this video that I thought was funny. Okay. Randa says, Michael Baden, a forensic pathologist, said it looked like murder. And that's because that's likely what it was. Okay. Edward said their God equals gold, oil, and rugs. Terry Hinn said, thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Okay, so listen, I'm going to this last video because I thought this was so hilarious, but then we're out of here, okay? And I'll be back later. Lights up. Don't forget to like and share on your way out. Hey, Chili Willie from Philly.
Listen, y'all, I got a good one today, y'all. Please don't be getting emotional, bro. Just listen. This is a breakup that happened in Africa, bro. Listen, if you ain't got time, save it. Ladies, be warned. Y'all gonna say it's not funny, but it definitely is, though. Just let me show you the first video first, okay?
POV, my boyfriend broke up with me after my head video went viral.
All right, now y'all see her head, right? Y'all see her head. Now, let me show y'all what the boyfriend sent to her, bruh. Her head made it to the group chat. Listen, look.
Avoid me. Please avoid me. Remember, I told you, do not post your head on the internet. You went online and go and post your tortoise head. Now everybody know now you have a tortoise head. The most painful part is that my friend keeps sending me your head photo. They are using it to play S&O. Do you think I'm happy with that? You know you have a tortoise head. You still went online and post it. Are you proud of your head? What kind of head is this? And you are telling me it's just for quartet. And so what? It's blowing up, and you are happy your head is trending. What kind of head is this? I'm no longer interested, though. I'm no longer interested in this relationship. This is 2026. Bye. Focus to... I'm blocking you right away.
Hey, you know how bad somebody gotta be roasting your girl when you to break up?
Now, that was so sad. Did y'all see that Reddit said the accent was killing her? I find it all interesting because her head did look like a tortoise, but the messages she was
happy
sending,
with that.
she was saying, "What did I do, baby? This is just content now, and it's blowing up, baby. No, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that the video was going to actually go viral. My tummy is paining me because you don't want to reply." And the poor little thing, she lost her boyfriend. And here's the thing. She had him listed in her phone as my heartbeat. Honey, he said he's no longer interested in the relationship because she did a video showing her head and it was trending. He said, "Are you proud of your head? You have a tortoise head. Now everybody know you have a tortoise head." He said, "Now everybody knows you have a tortoise head." Did y'all see the pattern on her head? How did she get that? I wonder. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. It just goes to show that some people will do anything literally to go viral. Okay, that's what that says to me. Because there's no way in the hell, if my bald head looked like that I would have taken a video and posted it. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, I guess some people say they got to do what they got to do to go viral, honey. Please pay attention. So with that all being said, I'm out of here. Everyone, please like and share. Okay, please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, also don't forget to double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, especially if you haven't been receiving notifications. All right, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always, beloveds, remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on on the gas, other one on their necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got